Meeting to order the March 3rd, 2021 Board of Zoning Appeals meeting to comply with Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Decatur County requests the participants in this meeting complete a voluntary anonymous survey that is available on the table in the back of the room. First item on our agenda is approval of the minutes, which the board members should have received in their packet. Does anyone have any additions or corrections? Seeing none, we will accept those. First item on the agenda is BZA petition 2021-1. Frank Schreiner is requesting a variance from the required 15-foot side setback to an existing structure to a 10-foot side setback. This request falls under Decatur County Ordinance 945. The property is currently owned by the petitioners and is located at 4093 West, County Road 800 South, Greensburg, in Sand Creek Township. Mr. Schreiner, if you are a representative, could you come on up and explain to us the reasoning for your variance?
Well, as of now, I am cash renting the farm out, and I'm wanting to cash renting the farm out, the tillable ground, and I'm wanting to keep the one shed that's in the lane that goes back to my woods. I'm gonna keep my woods, but the ones that are cash renting the property, they're actually wanting the house and barn. So in order for them to do that, I gotta go in between the barn and my shed, which is, it's only like 20 foot, you know, some inches. So
So the biggest or longest barn is what we're looking at.
yes,
That is the one that's staying with the property
Yeah.
that you're going to keep.
yeah, I'm gonna track that off and then go straight back to the woods.
So then the house and the other two outbuildings are going with the house
Yeah.
that you're preparing to sell.
Yeah,
How will you maintain access to your drive that goes back to the woods?
okay, like you see where the grain bin is,
Mm-hmm.
okay, over that way, 50 foot will be another line that goes all the way to the woods. Oh, well, thank you.
There's a little bit on the side. This is the one that's what you
Yes.
keep.
Okay, so right about in here, an existing line will go straight down to the woods. So then this from here to here, I talked with Andy, and he said I had to have that much road frontage to be able to do this. Then it's gonna come over to here, and go from this existing line to the wood. So, but I'm thinking I'm gonna have to maybe come over this way even more to make this one track, to be in compliance with the,
To get your acre and a half.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the long barn essentially is just in the wrong spot to break it up, break it off the way that you're going to.
Yeah, to go in, yeah. There's not enough room, like where the yellow line is, to,
Right.
where I can keep that long shed.
Okay, so my first thought here, now that I understand it even more clear, that's sort of a hip barn roof there, it's parallel to the roof, parallel to the road, correct? Closest to the road, it looks like a hip roof barn.
The first one on the east side of the yellow line.
You mean this one right there?
No,
No,
The barn.
the east side.
this barn.
This is one I want to keep,
Yeah,
yeah.
the one closest to the road,
Go on up.
up one, right there.
That's a barn.
Oh, yeah. Is there, what's the distance from the end of that barn to that yellow line?
10 foot.
Is there doors on the end of that barn?
Huh?
There are doors?
No,
There's no
well,
doors?
they're 2 4-foot doors.
Okay, so no big.
No.
Okay,
Everything actually is on this side right here.
Okay,
How tall is it to the roof line?
How tall?
How tall is it to the roof line?
To the barn?
Uh-huh.
Probably 35, 40 foot maybe, 35,
it's a two-story barn.
yeah.
Okay.
I guess then the same question could be asked for the longer barn that you're wanting to keep. Is there any limitation to access by creating this line?
You mean as far as somebody getting this?
No, yeah, right.
No, I won't have no problem with them, coming in here and doing anything.
I think what he was, go ahead.
Yeah, basically the north side, here, the north side of that barn, right here.
Yeah,
You got doors on that side?
there's doors all the way around it. There's a door here, there's a door here, there's one here, and there's one right there.
And that's the barn you want to keep for yourself?
Right,
Okay, the rest of the barn goes with the house?
right.
I see.
What we're after is on the roadside of that barn you're keeping.
Yeah.
Can you think you can maintain that barn, get in and out of that barn without violating the property line?
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Okay.
And the same way with the other people that if I do sell this, I don't have no problem with them coming in and driving through here or doing anything.
Right now,
Yeah.
Oh,
right now.
well,
You, this board looks at things in a longer term.
oh, okay,
When you're not here
okay,
one day, just like I'm not gonna be here one day, who's gonna own that? Will they have a problem with those people? That's what we're trying to mitigate and fix now when people come to us like this. We understand you're happy with it, and we understand the other people are happy with it.
well,
But that's
hopefully
not
my-
ultimately the permanent owners.
yeah, hopefully my son will get this after I'm.
Sure, I understand. But there's a lot of things that are people hopeful and they don't materialize some days, so
Well,
we have to watch that.
If I do get this, applied, then whoever does buy this will understand that there's only 10 foot here. I mean, and if they don't apply to it, then you don't have to buy it. But they'll know right off the bat, if they're buying it, that this is what the existing property line is.
And you're sure you wanna keep the long barn for
Yeah.
you, you're sure of that?
Yeah,
Is that just a pole barn?
yeah.
Because this is gonna be a funny looking property line in 20 years when the pole barn gets tore down.
We've run into this before. This isn't our common way that we would like this to happen, but we've had other situations where they want to divide off the farm from the house, and even though they still own it and they want that, so we have to work in between there. That's not something we are typically kind to, is this line. That's not in our favor, so. But in this situation, you know, we're struggling to come up with a better idea for you. That's why we're challenging you with these thoughts, okay? Not to talk you out of it, just to feel you out, so we understand. So,
Any other questions from the board?
I mean, is there a plan to build on your side now?
No,
So it's just farm now?
okay.
And it
It's
house-
just really just access back to the woods for hunting, you know.
Oh,
In your pole barn, do you have storage in there for farm implements? What are you putting in there that you have to have?
Well, right now, my son has his RV camper.
Oh, okay, okay. I just wondered if it was, why it was necessary that we kept that instead of go with the house, but I understand.
And also, I was gonna probably keep a tractor in there
Right.
too to mow to the
Exactly.
woods and then,
sure. No, it's you're right to do all those things.
Oh, yeah. As long as you wasn't gonna build a house in
no,
it. I just teased.
I didn't have any plans on it.
Anything else from the board? Okay, Frank, you can take a seat. Do we have any other members of the public, any neighbors that have any concerns? comments from the board?
Again, I'll just say that this isn't what we like to do, but we understand in order not to make you pick the barn up and move the barn back 60 feet or 80 feet, this is the next best option, so I don't have any further comments.
Seeing none, I'll look for a motion.
I make the motion that we vote on, number 2021-1.
Second.
And I'll call the roll. Gary Fisher? Jamie Livingston votes yes. Brad Schutte votes yes. Jay Hatton votes yes. Joyce Brinley votes yes.
Thank you. Frank, your petition passes.
Thank you so much.
Next petition, BZA petition 2020-21, by Bex Farm is requesting a special exception in an I-2 zoning classification to operate landfill on approximately 48.4 acres, more or less. This request falls under Decatur County Ordinance number 1220M. The property is currently owned by the petitioners and is located at 2280 South US Highway 421, Greensburg, Indiana, Washington Township. Kurt, you want to come on up?
Thank you, good evening. My name is Kurt Pablo. I'm the Environmental Compliance Manager for Decatur Hills Bestway. I guess I'd like to just start out, I just want to reiterate that we're here asking for the special exception, which will allow us to continue our existing business, the landfill, on a new 48.4 acres across the road from where we are today. This is not going to be a change in our practice or our operation. This is simply just an expansion of the existing business to the adjacent property. We've been in business at this location for 30 years now. There have been a lot of questions and hearsay brought up over the last couple of years of meetings. And I just want to go back to the fact that the Indiana Department of Environmental Management, IDEM, their mission is the protection of human health and the environment. And if they believe that Decatur Hills pose a danger to the health of folks in this community or a threat of danger to the environment, there's nothing that would stop them from coming in, locking our gate tomorrow. With all that said, I would like to take just a couple minutes to run through just a quick presentation. I realized after the last meeting that not everyone has been through all of this process with us. And we received a compilation of questions from the Area Plan Commission. It came some from the board and some from the public, and we responded in writing to those questions. And that response, I believe, was delivered back to the board. Some of those questions will be answered in this presentation. It's short, it's just a handful of slides. And if there's any other questions or any other, if you would like any elaboration on any of what we provided to you, I'm more than happy to talk about it, whatever we can provide to you this evening. As far as presentation, I'll just wait for her to pull it up. I'm ready when you are.
I think I'm ready.
Oh, okay, all right. That's fine. Yeah, so the petitioner is Bex Farms. Bex Farms is the property owner of, within our company, that's the company that owns the farm and rental ground. So that's why it's in that name. That company is owned by the same people as Decatur Hills and Bestway Disposal. So we're just making it clear in case there's any questions about why why there's the different name, Beck's Farms versus Decatur Hills, or the best way to call it. Maybe people are more familiar. So just a little bit about us. We've been in the community, like I said, 30 years, since 1991. We're active in the local community, supporting local organizations and activities. As far as employment, we have about 79 full-time employees right now. That puts us in about the top 3% by number of employees in Decatur County. We paid out almost $6 million, $5.9 million in wages and benefits to the local employees in 2020. Local economic impact in 2020, the $5.9 million in wages and benefits that goes out to the people that support families in and around this community. $4.8 million in direct spending for fuel, repairs, other supplies in and around this community. Those are expenditures from the local office to support that business. $3.7 million in 2020 in equipment and construction, just investment in our business and continue to operate in this community in the future. $128,000 a year goes out in local taxes, between property taxes and local fees and things that we write a check to Decatur County for, in addition to other fees and taxes paid to the state that filter back to the county indirectly. This is just a copy of the site plan that was submitted to the BZA through the Area Planning Commission. Just shows exactly what we're asking for, which the red and white diagonal marked area to the left in the white, that's the 48.4 acres that we're asking for the special exception for. Shows setbacks and other things from property lines and adjacent properties. There's some additional industrial zone property to the north and to the south of this that are just intended to be support activities related to the landfill. Could be sediment ponds, could be equipment parking areas, could be gas processing in the future, something like that. It's not specifically determined yet, but just support, not waste disposal, not landfill specific. And again, that's what we're here to ask for, is that special exception for the 48.4 acres of the I-2 zone property to be used as a sanitary landfill. And this is just a continuation of our current operations onto that adjoining property. I will say again, this does align with the Decatur County Comprehensive Plan. That's just a map from the comprehensive plan that shows the NAR corner area off 421. It shows the purple area on both sides of County Road 280 there as being industrial use. I think that's pretty clear. At a prior meeting, I put this in, this came from our original presentation to the APC. At a prior meeting, there was some question about property values. Back in 2019, when we first presented this to the APC, we had a real estate study done, and at that time, it was showing that the sale prices in Decatur County as a whole had increased about 10% since 2017. Within a mile, I think, of the landfill since 1992. So basically throughout our operation, there have been 14 new homes constructed. In 2017 and 18, the 2 years prior to that presentation, there were 5 home sales within a mile of the landfill. None of those sales had anything to do with Beck's Farms, Decatur Hills, or Best Way. And all of those sale prices were roughly about 24% above the assessed value, which was pretty consistent with what we saw across the county as a whole, as far as sale price versus assessed price. I don't think there's any truth to the idea of it being an issue with property value or property devaluation. And that's really the extent of that presentation. Like I said, I'm happy to dig deeper into any of these questions.
I'm gonna ask the board, do you guys have questions directly?
No real questions, I just have some remarks. I truly believe that you're true stewards of the land. After 30 years, I think that it would be unreal if you wasn't.
Could we hear your comments, please?
I said after 30 years, I think you are good stewards of the land. Like I said, my husband had worked for IDM. IDM is so much bigger than all of us. They know what they're doing, and if they say it's okay, and that you're doing a good job, I can't see where we can tell you you can't. But that's not for me and just my opinion. All I know is you're trying very hard, and what I see that you have done for 30 years is pretty nice. I've asked people who live out there that's not in this group if they smell that. I've had all kinds of comments. No, they don't bother us, or no, we don't smell anything. Well, you know, I'm not saying that that's across the line. There's other people who feel differently. But I just appreciate everybody being a better steward of the land. Thank you for that.
Kurt, my questions are going to be, what happens, let's go through the scenario that it never gets passed and Decatur County refuses a landfill. Tell us what happens to the landfill. What is the future after it's full?
Well, as part of the application process to IDEM, we're required to prepare a closure and post-closure, a very detailed closure and post-closure plan that details all the steps that need to go through, all the specs that need to be met, all those things. And actually, if a permit gets granted, then that plan has to be funded as well. So that money, IDEM has that money in the trust fund today for the existing landfill. So that landfill would be closed and would go into what's called post-closure care at that point. And this really is regardless of which situation, Jay. This would be the existing landfill or if it was expanded, then that landfill. Once it's closed, then it would go into a period of post-closure care. When it's closed, there's basically almost a duplicate of the underneath liner system that goes on top to prevent moisture from getting in, prevent gases from getting out. And so you've encapsulated that whole landfill, top and bottom. And then during that post-closure care, you're just allowing all of that to settle in and kind of stabilize. So the post-closure care is often thought of as a 30-year period, but that's just kind of a mark in the sand, and it's really based on performance. It's a minimum of 30 years, and it's based on performance of, the leachate generation has to get down to not nothing, but almost nothing. Gas generation the same way, like you've got to get that to where the risks have been minimized. You've got to maintain the cover and maintain all of the monitoring through all that.
So the bond that you have to take care of the current landfill, does that also include the old Decatur Hills landfill as well? Was that included in this, or who takes care of it? The same?
No, that's not our facility, and so we're not financially responsible.
You're taking care of it now?
We do some maintenance over there and things like that, but as far as the closure and post-closure regulations were a lot different back when that was closed.
Okay.
And today, for example, Decatur Hills has almost $9 million posted with the state for these closure and post-closure activities.
Okay. Is the original landfill that you didn't put in, is it producing anything? Is it producing gas or any leakage that you have to take care of?
There's leachate that's generated from that landfill and gets pumped to the wastewater treatment plant, to the sewer plant.
So that would not be taken care of, is that the way I understand it? That would not be taken care of after the 30-year closure or whatever. When does that pumping stop? When you guys are, I don't understand. what will happen to the original, I guess?
Well, the maintenance of that is really separate.
Okay,
So, I guess to say that, you know, as that landfill, you know, it's difficult because it doesn't have the same kind of cap on it. So you can't cut off the incoming moisture,
I
so it's hard to cut
I
off
understand.
the, you know, wastewater. And that's a good question. There's a lot of those orphaned landfills around the
That's a
state
good
now.
term, yeah.
Yeah, that, and the state is trying to come up with a way to pay for that, really. You know, the condition of this one here is a lot different than it is in some places where, you know, there isn't.
I'll use that term, the orphan landfill, is it producing gas now?
The gas it produces, I think, is really minimal. You know, there's a few vents and things around there, and you don't really, I've never noticed any real gas production from the landfill.
The current landfill that you're maintaining and using now, is it going to ever produce methane or any gas that could be used in your trucks, or will that be an expansion someday?
It's a little bit early to say, but I believe so. We have another site in Indiana where we're currently producing the equivalent of almost 2,000 gallons a day for the trucks on site at that facility.
And how many acres does that take to produce that?
That one's a little bit larger. That's 150 acre landfill, so a little bigger than this one here.
Okay. So it is reasonable that one day you could be pumping that gas out and using it for your equipment?
Right, probably at a smaller scale, but yes, same principle for sure.
Okay.
We have some CNG trucks in Greensburg already. We just use the commercial fuel in those trucks now rather than.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, we're using compressed gas in those now,
Mhm.
buying it someplace, yeah.
Right, yeah.
Okay. What will ever happen south of that county road? Is that 280 there?
200
Yeah,
south, yeah.
yeah. What's going to happen in that woods back there? Is that ever going to be, do you have a plan for it?
No, that, I think that most likely is just gonna be maintained, like, we have some property that we maintain just in case we need to do like a property swap or something in the future, we have some ground
Okay.
available.
Do you still have Gary?
So, I know odor has been a topic that I've heard for the last couple of months, and I was not here last month, so I apologize, but, is there a clear, definitive way to get that odor, done, or is it always going to be there is that just the nature of the landfill? And I know early on, I'm gonna go back months, when this was first brought up, you had said that you were putting in new gas pipes and that, I think last winter you couldn't get them in, and then that was going to be remedied. Is there any more explanations that we could hear about that?
Well, that's part of what I tried to address in here. So I think that immediate problem was dealt with the installation and connection of those wells
Okay.
that we talked about. We're dealing with waste, so there's always some, intermittent odor. We do, actually, we just came across a product this week that we're trying as an additive to the spray-on cover that we talked about.
Sure.
That is supposed to oxidize odor compounds. So it's something that we're trying, researching, and trying some different products.
So you believe there's more products headed your way then to help with?
Right, and it's not like it's not like a masking agent or something, you know, like there's,
And these are IDM, I guess, approved products, because they don't want you to spray something on the dirt that's gonna be even more toxic than what's already there.
oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
That's all I have for right now.
Okay, nothing from Gary. Okay, Kurt. Thank you. Okay, now I'm gonna open the floor up to the public. I want this to be fairly quick. We've got a long agenda later on tonight. What we need to hear are facts, and I need new information. We need to hear anything that you guys have that we need to know. We've had a full set of questions answered, and Kurt has given us this presentation. So if anybody has anything that is new and pertinent, please come up right now.
Can you hear us?
Go ahead, Sean.
Break one on it. I think you're having some problems with your Zoom meeting, and somebody can pick it
Yes,
up.
but we got the board member on my phone, on
Okay.
speaker. Just got Julie on.
Go ahead, Sean.
Hi, Sean Green. Hey, had a bunch of questions you said you could give us answers to. Probably gonna take more than 10 minutes for that, but just curious where you guys are at on answering those questions.
We have received all the answers to the questions that you and everyone else posted.
No. I'll just start out with this one then. In previous meetings, the board's request we not ask any questions pertaining to landfill because it didn't have anything to do with the zoning, et cetera, et cetera. However, all members have made the oath to this community. Can the board in good faith say that they are following the oath that they have promised to this community if you approve this expansion? In those oaths, some of the highlighted parts on them are, this will not be injurious to public health, safety, morals, or general welfare of the community. Said it won't devalue adjusting properties. And for his slideshow, everything's went up in price and value, everything. And most of the houses within a mile, they purchased. So I think that's a false thing saying property value will not decrease. Also, it says that you got, your oath says it has to be a hardship, a necessary hardship. And we're talking about something that I've heard anywhere from 15 to 50 years out that they don't need this right now. So that's not being met. It also says, circumstances that do not result from actions of the applicant. The applicant's the one coming here. Some more oaths that you say you will back to pass anything. Is it will serve and be adequate for the health and welfare of the people. Also, it says it will not cause excessive production traffic, which it does, noise, which it does, smoke and dust and fumes, which it does, and odors, which it does. So that's just a few of many questions. I'll come back up if we have to. We'll just keep sticking in there and keep coming back because we don't have anything else to do. But I'm just having a hard time understanding why something gets tabled so long when they aren't prepared for one and they aren't meeting the oaths of the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean.
Hello, my name is Merrill Smith. I live at 1927 South US Highway 421. We are located within a mile of the landfill back towards town. we can see the landfill from our home. The landfill provides a very important service to our community in that they are responsibly handling our trash and our recycles. We all have trash that needs to be dealt with within a safe manner. Unattended trash can make a very unhealthy situation and attract rodents. The landfill provides the opportunity for citizens to remove their trash in a very safe and economic manner. I find the landfill to be kept in a clean and environmentally attractive scene. Many trees have been planted and lawn care well maintained. The landfill employs many local people with good paying jobs. These employees pay local taxes and do business in our community. Our landfill is currently able to handle trash from outside our county. These customers pay for this service. This is no different than people coming from outside our county to do business with many other local businesses. This brings money into Decatur County. If the landfill is unable to expand for future safe operation and has to shut down, where will the trash be taken and at what cost? I admire the landfill for their foresight and planning for the future to take care of our trash and recycles in a safe manner. One letter to the editor of our local newspaper tried to ask if we care that Decatur County has a high cancer death rate, trying to associate this with the landfill. My doctor asked me about the health background of my parents and grandparents in reference to cancer. I feel genetics have a big part of our cancer problems, and many of our people in this community are related. My doctor never asked me if I live near a landfill. I encourage our community to assess the true value of having a safe, responsible landfill that we can very economically utilize. And yes, I live close to the landfill. I hear a little noise once in a while, maybe a little smell once in a while, but nothing that doesn't go with living in the country. And I guess I speak up in favor of the landfill because it's what's best for the community, and I'm not worried about my own personal values. Thank you.
My name is Arlene Cook, and I live in Greensburg, and I don't think I know any of you, but I question, why are we getting trash from other counties, and now we want to expand our landfill? I don't think that's a good idea. Am I wrong? Just because it's money? We want to put our landfill and our people at risk? That's my one question. Why are we taking trash from other counties? I don't understand. Can you tell me why? Money?
No.
I mean, we now.
You need to address us. We're not gonna answer questions.
Oh, okay, thank you. And yeah, I'm against the expansion. If we have our landfills full of other trash coming from other counties, now we want to expand. And I also question recycling. I don't understand recycling. Put all this stuff, glass and everything in our containers. Who sorts it? I don't understand that either. So that's my questions. And I thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
My name is Jean Johannigan, and I've addressed you before on the PFAS, but I've got a question for you concerning the leachate. And we know that Purdue has $1 million grant to study PFAS. We've been told by IDEM that they've got a committee studying it right now. The state has a law sitting there on PFAS. Now, we can ignore that this is taking place and deal with the consequences when they come. But what you've got to consider is what we're doing right now. And I gave you an example that showed what happened to another town, not much different in size than Greensburg, in another state where they passed a PFAS law and the financial repercussions that came from it. Now, the leachate from the old, the current, and any future expansion is still, at this time, being pumped into Greensburg. And we've been told by a testing company, you don't even need to test for PFAS, it's there. Because it's in pizza boxes, carpets, clothing, things that go into the landfill every day. And it's a forever chemical, so it does not degrade. So, when they come with whatever law they're gonna pass, what are we gonna do with the leachate? What are we gonna do with the ground that's been contaminated with this leachate? And are we going to continue to take in 75% more from out of county and complicate what we're going to have to deal with? I think we need to be proactive and not reactive on this issue. And I understand that they're complying with the current laws, but this is something that's coming at us, and we can either consider it or not. Thank you.
Thank you, Gene. Do we have anyone else?
On the oath part,
Come on up, Sean,
okay.
just so we can get you on the microphone.
Okay, sure. On the oath, you know, the general welfare, et cetera, that we couldn't ask in the past. Can I ask each one of you, do you agree that we're following all the ordinance in your oath to get a variance passed? Joyce?
You can ask, but we can't answer.
As part of this board, we have to decide that for ourselves.
But you asked us to ask questions, we didn't get the questions answered.
The thing that you're quoting about our oaths,
Yes.
that doesn't have anything to do with you folks. That's us in our own field.
Yeah, but aren't we a community?
Yes, we are.
I mean, these boards from the last, I don't know, year and a half or so, it just seems like everything just keeps getting shoved at. First, you can't talk to us. You can't talk to us anywhere except for here. That was the first, whatever you call it, not face reality. And now, we can't get an answer from you? I just
That
don't
is our-
understand why we're all.
That is our oath, unfortunately.
That we can't talk to ourselves either. We can't talk to you until everybody is,
But they can ask you guys questions, they can deal with
we
you.
answer.
What we need from the public is your opinion, and we're getting that.
Okay,
And that is what we need to shape our decision.
okay.
And that's what I'm appreciating here, is we are getting everybody's opinion. That's what we need in order to make our decision.
Okay. Well, just one more thing before I leave then. This part is not opinions. This is part of the A, B, C, D, E in that section, of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in that section. And then the other section, I think it's 315, you have A, B, C, D, E, F. And when you vote, you have to agree that you're hitting all those for it to legally be approved. That's a yes. I mean, you wouldn't be on the board, and that's why you have that big thick book that I've read that's really boring. I just want that to be in writing and on recorded that whatever you approve has to meet all those categories.
Yes.
All right, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Sean. Okay, if we don't have anyone else, we're gonna move right along here. Kurt, no. Hang on, let me,
Krista, we've got somebody talking.
we need to try to turn you up.
Brad, you got somebody who wants to speak here?
I've got another one here, Bill, so I'll get you after whoever's on the Zoom meeting.
Okay, do a little try. That's not working yet, just a second. Okay, now try it, Julie.
Yes.
My name's Julie Lowe, and I live in Columbus, Indiana, but I live in the same watershed all do. And, I am concerned about the request to expand the Decatur County landfill, and I ask that it be denied. From what I understand, the landfill waste is processed at the wastewater treatment facility, and two contaminated byproducts are released into Greensburg and surrounding communities. Water contaminated with PFAS and other toxins that may naturally process these into gas free. The solid byproduct, leachate or sludge, is spread over Decatur County soil. This is a risky practice and care should be taken not to contaminate water on the rivers and streams. This process alarms me. Allowing the landfill to expand will increase the waste production, which will cause even more toxic byproducts spread onto the Decatur County farmland and possibly contaminate the water with forever toxic chemicals like PFAS that we are not able to filter out. If we poison any of our water, then we have poisoned it all. The latest research shows that contaminants present in the community water, even at legal standards, can still harm human health. I ask that the county please investigate other sources of income and the BZA not allow the landfill to be expanded. And also, the EPA has concluded that all landfills will eventually leak. Thank you all for
Thank you, Julie. I'm gonna try to run down that really quick. It's gonna be a condensed version, because you guys probably couldn't hear it. That was Julie Lowe. She was from, I believe she's from Bartholomew County. She advised us to vote against it. Basically, similar to, as Gina's mentioned, the PFAS chemicals going to the sewer treatment plant and then being spread back out onto the ground, contaminating groundwater. That's the gist of it. I can't go through all of it, but,
Thanks, Julie Lowe. Thanks, Julie.
okay. Do we have anyone else from the floor? Bill, you had your hand up.
I guess I'm Bill Obermeyer. Part of my comments are still from the last meeting. I think what Joyce brought up about the smell, there's still a smell. I've got it logged. A lot of days at 6 o'clock in the morning, I make a log of when I smell it. It smells to Merrill's place, past Merrill's place. I've got pictures of over 100 buzzards there. Paul Stone smelled it tonight after the area planning committee meeting. And it seems like we just can't get answers why there's a smell. We've been there since 1980, and it started in 2019, and it can't seem to get addressed. Then my concern is, if there's 75% of the trash coming in from out of county, we get another large acreage of landfill. Obviously, if you get more landfill, you're gonna have more trash coming in, because it's revenue. So then what's it gonna be with the smell and the traffic? If anybody sits at the courthouse and watches the traffic go by, I'll guarantee you there's more Best Way trucks than any other trucks going by. So it's just a concern for the health and for future generations. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Okay, I've got time for one more. If no, and Kurt, would you like to come up and rebut anything, and also give Gary Fisher, the board member who is, I believe, still on the phone, a chance to ask any questions?
I don't really see anything new that we haven't addressed in the questions that were presented to us, and that we responded to. If you all have any, if you would like some clarification or to dig into any of them, I'm happy to. Gary, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them for you.
Gary, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here. I guess one question that I would have on what happens, kind of what Jay was saying a while ago, but a little bit different vein, is what happens if we vote no? What is Best Way's business plan going forward? And what is the county's plan then? What would the county's plan be then to have a landfill operated on its own like Northumbria County, or it's not economically viable from a business perspective for Best Way to continue, and do they just close today? What happens there? What's that timeline? What's that look like as we look into the future, as we've talked about?
Sure. So, I mean, if we were to vote today, to deny this, I guess just assume that this just died today and we never went forward again. I mean, we would have to look at the remaining, the airspace in the existing landfill, the lifespan of that landfill is our inventory.